What's up, scholars? Welcome back to another video. My name is Haley, otherwise known as the Fictional Scholar, and today we are going to be here for another little bit of storytelling analysis from, again, the Star Wars universe and the Star Wars franchise. So I did another video on Star Wars. I did Kylo Ren, Ben Solo's redemption arc and that storytelling, and I gave my opinion about it, and I will link it down in the description, and it'll be in one of the corners at the end of this video. You'll be able to go and view it if you would like to and kind of see what my thoughts were on it. And in that last video, I kind of mentioned how I would be talking about how in the Star Wars universe, redemption equals death. It's a great topic we're going to be dealing with today. So I'm just going to kind of give my opinion on what I think about these storytelling techniques of redemption equals death and that trope that kind of is found commonly in the Star Wars universe, kind of going over a few of the characters that I think fits that trope, and then we can have a discussion in the comments below and everything like that. So yeah, we'll just jump right into it. Do y'all like this here? I like this here. It's cute, right? It's cute. I love this little storytelling book thing. I got distracted. Anyways, we'll go straight to the video. So in the Star Wars universe, it's kind of common to see that when a character, whether it be a villain like Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, or just a character in general that is seen as a good person but has done something wrong or something bad in the past that they should redeem themselves for, like Han Solo or even Obi-Wan Kenobi, it seems as if throughout the Star Wars franchise, it seems like these types of characters, when they get their redemption, it equals to their death. Why is that? I'm not quite sure. That is a storytelling trope. It started off with, firstly, Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original trilogies of Star Wars. In the very first one, A New Hope. And Obi-Wan has been hiding out in the desert and kind of run away from his problems, and whenever Luke finds him, he kind of lies to Luke and says, "Oh, I knew your father, but he was killed by Vader," which technically, yes, he was correct, but we'll let that slide. Obi-Wan decides to stop running from the past, from his mistakes in the past, how he could have handled the situation, how he could have foresaw Anakin's demise by taking on Luke as his protege and his disciple in a sense, and just training Luke and really taking him under his wing, training him of the ways of the Jedi and everything like that. And then at the end of A New Hope, we get this confrontation with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which Darth Vader is like basically the representation of his past and his mistakes in the past. Obi-Wan by this point has far redeemed himself, has become such a mentor and a kind of a father figure in Luke's life, and he redeems himself by standing up to Vader, facing what he had been running away from all these years, and he dies. I mean, everybody, pretty much anybody who's seen Star Wars knows the story. He dies at the hand of Vader, and at the end he has this very peaceful smile, and he's very content with his decisions and where he's at. So his redemption throughout the first movie, A New Hope, his redemption equaled in his death. Of course, we get, little bits and pieces of conversation between him and Luke later on in movies when he's a Force ghost talking to Luke, but his story essentially ends when he dies in A New Hope, and that's how his redemption ends. And then of course we have the most famous of them all, is the death of Darth Vader. I probably should have put a spoiler warning in the beginning for anybody who hasn't seen Star Wars. Oops. Spoiler warning, Darth Vader dies. So Darth Vader, formerly known as Anakin Skywalker. Anakin started off as a slave that was saved on Tatooine and brought into the Jedi Order. The Jedi Council were very tentative and unsure about, bringing him on and making him a Jedi because they feared what he could become. They feared what he could become in the future, which fair point. And like all the, basically the prequels for A New Hope and the following movies, all the prequels basically show the events of Anakin turning into Vader and his fall to the dark side, the demise of Padme, and everything that he had worked for just kind of falling away and him falling into Palpatine's hands. All of that to set up for Luke, his son, Luke coming to Darth Vader and trying to get him to turn to the light, because Luke knows that there is still light in him and there's still good in his father. He believes in Darth Vader, and Anakin Skywalker more precisely. Of course, this all culminates through the movies, and to sum it up really shortly and probably really badly, it sums up to the point where Palpatine is trying to kill Luke because Luke will not turn to the dark side. Palpatine is trying to kill Luke. Darth Vader cannot stand to see his son be tortured, and he ends up turning on Palpatine, throwing Palpatine down a chasm, essentially, where he should have stayed dead. Threw him down there, killing Palpatine and redeeming himself, saving his son. But in the process, he is fatally wounded and tells Luke to get off the Death Star before it's destroyed. So his redemption was a great one, and it was beautifully played out. But in the end, his redemption did end up his demise, and he died. Now, also in the original trilogies and leaking into the newest trilogy is Han Solo's redemption story and his eventual demise, where Han Solo is originally this rogue and he doesn't really care at first. He doesn't really play by the rules. He doesn't really care about the rebels, anything like that. He's just in it all for himself, also for money. He looks out for himself and no one else, and that causes him to make some bad decisions. I could bring in the Solo movie, kind of tying it. I'm not going to mess with the Solo movie, and I'm not going to mess with Rogue One, although you can find very similar examples of what I'm talking about in those movies. But Han Solo continuously kind of redeems himself throughout the course of the movies by at first abandoning the rebels and saying that he's not going to help and leaving them to their own, to coming in at the last minute and helping save Luke and saving the rebels and ultimately helping destroy the Death Star. So he kind of goes back and forth, and we thought he was going to die in when he gets placed in the carbonite. We thought he was going to die here. I'm going to place the movie card title thing here because for the life of me, it escapes my mind. So we thought he was going to die, but of course he escapes the carbonite and he continues to live. So after he's free from the carbonite, he continues to help out the rebels despite kind of this back and forth kind of feeling he has of only wanting to take care of himself to wanting to help others. So it's kind of a continual redemption with him. And then of course with the new trilogy and the very first one, why can I not think of that stupid name? Empire Strikes Back was where he was put in carbonite, but when we see Han Solo in The Force Awakens, of course this is decades past from where we left off in Return of the Jedi, and he has a son, Kylo Ren, who has fallen to the dark, and Han Solo takes a lot of heavy responsibility for this, but has once again gone back to his old ways. Him and Leia have split, and he kind of goes and does the whole rogue treasure hunter, all that. He goes off and does that again because that's what he does best when things go wrong. So he had kind of run away again from his responsibilities, from this resistance now. So he kind of runs away from this failure in his eyes, and he takes a lot of heavy guilt. There's a lot of guilt and responsibility with that, and after all these years he is forced back into the fray when I think he would have preferred to be left out of it, but he was forced back into it thanks to Rey and Finn. And then he has to face Kylo Ren. He confronts his son in a moment of redemption. This is his full, complete redemption. He comes back, stops running away, acknowledges the problem, acknowledges it's his fault in the problem. A lot of it was with Kylo, yes, of course. But he acknowledges I cannot talk today. It's a good thing. He acknowledges his, I cannot say this word. He acknowledges his part in what has happened to his son and faces Kylo Ren at the very end of the movie. And of course, this redemption of him calling out to his son, facing that fault, ends in his death. He is killed by Kylo Ren, much like Obi-Wan was killed by Darth Vader. There's a lot of parallels there. Obi-Wan ran and hid from his problems for a lot of times, and so did Han Solo, and they both met their end by the person they ran from. And then, of course, with the most recent one, we do have Kylo Ren. And I won't go too much into it because I did a whole storytelling analysis over Kylo Ren's redemption arc, or failed redemption arc. But yes, Kylo Ren fell to the dark at a young age because he felt betrayed by Luke and the other Jedi. So yes, he fell into Snoke's hand and plays a part in the First Order as this powerful Sith. And of course, going throughout the movies, a lot of it with the relationship with his parents, like his guilt over killing Han Solo, the inability to kill his mother, and this relationship he has with Rey play a huge role in him turning back to the light. And in the end, whenever he does, after facing all of these things that he's been hiding from, after acknowledging that he's not supposed to be on the dark side and that he is going to return to light, guess what happens? He dies. So it is a very common trope in the Star Wars universe that a character that goes for their redemption often dies. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. In a few of the cases, it works pretty well. There's a nice parallel there. And I don't mind it as a storytelling trope. Like for Darth Vader, that trope and that storytelling tactic worked perfectly. It was beautifully done, and I think Star Wars did a fantastic job about doing it that way. Obi-Wan's, it was also understandable, especially following the kind of hero's journey of the mentor dying and everything. Like it fell into that kind of trope, and it eventually helped push Luke on to help redeem his father. So those made sense. And by the time it was Han's turn, it felt a little predictable that once Han came back and he was gonna go face Kylo Ren, in my mind I was like, yeah, he's gonna die. He's dead. He's dying. And then it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did when they killed off Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. It did surprise me because I thought they were gonna do something really different with his character. I thought they were gonna do something special with that character because of what it was built up to be, but they didn't. I talked about it in the last video. So it surprised me probably more than it should have that Kylo Ren, Ben Solo died. But at that point, it's almost like a pattern that the Star Wars universe falls into, that a character that has gone through a redemption arc of any kind of sort, whether it be back and forth like Han Solo, or one like Darth Vader, I cannot talk today, or one like Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, it seems that their redemption arc has to end in their death. Which, in some cases, yes, it works. In others, it doesn't. And if it is overused too much in the same universe with the same types of situations and people, it just becomes predictable. And I don't think it's the best tactic to use. It's not the best trope to use in a storytelling, because you always, one, as a storyteller, as a writer, screenwriter, you always want to keep your viewers, your readers, kind of on guard and not being able to completely predict how the story is going to end. You don't want a reader or a viewer to see a character, know your patterns, and be like, yeah, they're going to die at the end. I, for one, was surprised by Kylo Ren's just because in my mind they were doing something completely different, but they didn't ask my opinion. That's okay. I don't understand why it has become such a very telling trope and pattern in the Star Wars universe. Frankly, I would really like to see that be changed. And I haven't watched a lot of the series that are out. Like, I have watched The Mandalorian, and it's a little bit different there, and I appreciate that. But with future Star Wars movies, whether they do another trilogy or more like shows on Disney Plus or wherever, I would like to see that trope broken. Because if they continue to just kill off the characters that get redeemed, one, they're gonna lose a lot of interest in the show, because people aren't gonna want to be attached to any characters that they write, because they're like, well, they're gonna die. What's the point? And also, it's gonna just be way too predictable, and people are gonna know exactly what's going on before it happens. And you don't want that either in a TV show, a movie, or a book. Like, you don't want that in any sort of entertainment medium. So it would be really cool to see that changed, whether it's a villain who doesn't get redeemed at the end and stays a villain, or whether it's someone who actually goes on a complete redemption arc and stays alive at the end and completes the redemption arc by redeeming themselves afterwards, not just the initial turn, but the steps and actions they take after that. That would be nice. Like, take Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, for example. He has a fantastic redemption arc, one of the best, in my opinion, ever written, and he is alive at the end. Alive, and he takes steps and he goes on these journeys to prove his redemption, to prove his change. And it's so amazing to see, and I would love to see that in the Star Wars universe, because we just haven't seen enough of it. And I would love for the storytelling to change within the movies, within the writing in general, just so it's fresh and new and it's not the same old. Because while yes, it works in certain movies, it worked in the original trilogy because that was the first trilogy, it was the first installment, nobody was seeing it coming, and it was amazing to see. And then the prequels were just like the lead up to that amazing moment for Anakin and Darth Vader. But then by the time we get to the new ones, it's like, well, we've seen this before several times now. And then it's like, okay, there's nothing new here. So I would love to see a lot of fresh writing and a fresh storytelling take in the Star Wars universe in upcoming movies, shows, whatever. But I'm not gonna say it's a bad storytelling tactic, but I think if overused, it can be bad. So that's my take on it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot shorter than my other ones. Y'all are probably like, thank God it's shorter. She finally stops talking. But I ramble, I'm sorry. I ramble sometimes, so I apologize for that. But I hope y'all will be looking forward to my next video. I'm going to be doing a character analysis. I believe I'm either going to do one over Oikawa from Haikyuu, or I'm going to be doing another review of a show. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do yet, but be sure to stay tuned for that. If you want to make sure you get all the notifications for my channel, whether it be another storytelling analysis, a character analysis, or anything like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a like and a comment if you liked this video. We can have a conversation. If you agree with what I'm saying, let me know down in the comments. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Just be nice, please. But yeah, I hope to see you all in my future videos, and I hope you've enjoyed this one. So thank you for watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm struggling today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to see you all in my next video. So see you next time, scholars. Bye!